Good morning, dear ones, and what a wonderful day it is today. It's Thursday. As I said, short week, and just a couple more sleeps, and we're on the weekend again. Now, that doesn't mean to say that we need to wish our lives away, but at the same time, I think some people are really looking forward to things opening up a little bit so that certain things can get done. I know myself, I'm desperately in need of a hairdresser. I need a good haircut, and excuse me if I look like I've been dragged through a bush backwards. So today we're carrying on with the solar plexus chakra, and we're now going to look at the traumas and abuses that are associated with this chakra. So when we are looking, once again, just to remind you all, that when we're looking at the solar plexus chakra, we are looking at the time of your life that particular chakra was developed. And that is the age 14 to 21. This is when we are finding our identity. This is when we are not telling perhaps our parents everything about us anymore. This is when we're keeping a few secrets. This is when we perhaps are doing things that our peers are doing that perhaps our parents would not have approved of. And this is how our parents may be reacting, or the adults around us, and what we're being told, what we then finally believe. So when we are developing a chakra, it is about the belief system that is created within that particular time in our lives. So when we look at the traumas and abuses that happened in our lives during that time, certain things could have happened to you that may have had a long-lasting effect, where you would have kept that and held that in that particular chakra, thereby causing a blockage, which either could have caused a deficiency of energy to flow through or an excess of energy to flow through. So let's look at those potential traumas and abuses that you could have felt. And remember, some people are a little bit more sensitive than others, and if we're looking at the previous two chakras that have come before, and we look at something that might have happened there, it might make us a little bit more sensitive now as we are in this particular age. So remember, the domino effect is real. If you have something that you've identified within yourself that is an issue and needs to be let go of in your base chakra, in the first one, in the red one that we did, and it has not been released, it is going to have a knock-on effect. Okay, so be aware that you might be sensitive already because of something that happened before this particular chakra. And remember, this is about your ego. This is your confidence. This is how vulnerable you feel. This is how you show yourself to the world. This is the chakra that is all about the ego. Okay, so the traumas and abuses that could have happened within your life could have been being shamed or being put down all the time. Maybe you were subject to very strict authoritarianism. Okay, that's where some of us would have maybe pushed back against certain authorities, and that's where you get, I'm a bit of a rebel. Okay, we understand that that's got a little bit of a more deep-seated effect on us, and we'll look at that next. Perhaps we are subject to volatile situations. Now, volatile situations could be arguments. It could be where things are like mercury. They change very quickly. So you could have been subject to a childhood or a home environment where you're constantly checking whether things are going to change, whether they're going to be like mercury and change from a calm situation all of a sudden to a big blow up. And that volatility is obviously making you get into a habit of being like a cat on a hot tin roof and always checking out that person's. There's a TV program called Lie to Me, where this gentleman looks at micro expressions and how micro expressions, as we are busy talking, how the micro expressions perhaps might tell a different story from the words that we're actually saying. And very often when people are in volatile situations like that, they are very, very good, even if they don't realize it, at being able to identify those micro expressions and being able to watch the people around them and see what is not being said, and perhaps being able to preempt an argument or a volatile situation occurring. Some people might find that that is a skill, and I think it is, in my opinion, but what it took to get there is quite deep-seated and will have a lasting effect in the chakra. Somebody dominating your will, you will do this, controlling you. Physical abuse, okay? Being smacked around, corporal punishment, a dangerous environment, having fear of being punished, whether that is in the home environment or whether that is in the in the school environment at that stage as well. So having the jacks on a weekly basis, getting into trouble all the time, enmeshment, age inappropriate responsibilities. So the parental child, the child who feels that they've got to look after perhaps an alcoholic parent, or where they've got to defend a parent from abuse from the other parent. Those responsibilities are not for a child. However, a lot of children from the age of 14 to 21 are actually undertaking those things without the parents even realizing it. And then, of course, inherited shame from the parent. Perhaps something happened to the parent, and the parent then visits that particular shame onto the child within the relationship and the upbringing and the discipline that's used and the rules that are applied and things like that. Okay, so those are the traumas and abuses that could have happened during that time in your life that will cause a deficiency or an excess. And what deficiency or excess could it cause? Well, a deficiency in your chakra, in your solar plexus chakra, is going to cause low energy. So basically not having the willpower and the go-getter, because you just have low energy all the time. Perhaps you find yourself having a weak will where you're easily manipulated. Poor self-discipline and no follow-through. Low self-esteem. Cold emotionally and even physically. Poor digestion, so stomach issues. A collapsed middle. You find sometimes people are hunched over. An attraction to stimulants. And with regards to stimulant attraction, stimulants, caffeine, nicotine, etc. Victim mentality, the blaming of others. It's never ever being able to take responsibility. Remember when we looked at the balanced characteristics, being able to take responsibility. So the victim mentality is never being able to take responsibility. I'm a victim and everybody else is always to blame. I'm not responsible for myself and my own actions and what happens to me in my life. And the person might be very passive and, as I say, unreliable. And when we look at excess energy, you have then the opposite characteristic, which will be manifest: overly aggressive, dominating, controlling, the need to be right and have the last word, manipulative, power hungry, perhaps even deceitful. Scary but true. An attraction to sedatives, so as opposed to stimulants, because they probably are so up and high all the time, the attraction to sedatives, to be able to actually perhaps not want to see something. When people are attracted to sedatives, they're wanting to sleep their life away because they don't want to have to deal with it. Okay, temper tantrums, violent outbursts, and stubbornness, of course, is also, it's going to be done my way, and that's it. There's no compromise whatsoever. Also, a driving ambition, a type A personality. The person could be competitive, but hectically so, arrogant, and even hyperactive. And the physical malfunctions of this particular chakra will be manifest as eating disorders, digestive disorders like ulcers, hypoglycemia, diabetes, muscle spasms, muscle disorders, backache, nervous disorders, chronic fatigue, hypertension, and specifically disorders of the stomach, pancreas, gallbladder, and liver. Okay, so if any of these resonate with you, that you might find yourself or somebody around you having some of these characteristics, or if you look at the physical malfunctions that you might actually experience yourself, specifically with the stomach and with that particular solar plexus area. If you look at it, it all does tie in. Have a look at what happened to you or what you took on from the age of 14 to 21, and allow yourself to love yourself enough to let it go. All right, and to work through those things. I'll do healing practices and journaling questions tomorrow, and then we'll also look at the meditation that we can go through. Okay, so that's all for today. Is, as I always say, 4 agreements, 5 Reiki principles, and if you've got any questions or if you need me to guide you through how to release anything, remember, one-on-one sessions are easy to set up. I am definitely here for you, and if you need any further life coaching, please give me a call. Namaste.